India alone is 500 million. China is 2 billion. So many, 2 billion Christians, which are idol worshippers. Between Chinese, Indian, Hindus, Buddhists, and Christian, at least 6.5 billion people are idol worshippers that, according to the Torah, do not have the right to live. It's death penalty.
Unless you live under a rock, when you looked at this video on your homepage, you probably thought there cannot be any in Israel since they were victims of right? Well, you're wrong. If you think Israelis cannot be even if you just Google Israel, which I did when I started doing research on this essay, well, the very first thing I opened up was Wikipedia, as anybody else would. And what I see there? Israel means towards Israeli Arabs by Israeli Jews. This is not surprising if you only started paying attention to the world affairs recently, or even 5 to 10 years back. But it all started before your dad was born, or even your granddad, 78 years ago to be precise, with the Arab-Israel War. Since that could be a whole essay on itself, let me brief you on this so that we can continue with this essay. It all started in May 1948, after Israel was declared as an independent state. At that time, Palestine was under the British rule, and there were already small conflicts happening between the Jewish and Palestinian communities. And to resolve those issues, UN proposed a partition plan. And that is the part where we can say that humans never learn from the history, as partition never worked. Did they not see that not even a year ago in 1947 with India and Pakistan, which also was under British rule? What an irony. They divided the estate in a very stupid manner while keeping the Jerusalem as UN-controlled area. After the massacre of Deir Yassin, where Palestinians were massacred, of course, and then the aggressive boom of Jewish from the Europe happened due to the help, or you can say by the plan of Zionists. And on the other hand, the mass migration of Palestinians happened who had to forcefully leave their homes and their lands. As I mentioned, this can be a whole another essay itself, but this is how this whole thing started. And as you can see, it's still happening to this very day or this very minute, where Israelis or Zionists are still not happy and want to devour the whole Middle East and not just Palestine. Now let's get back to Jews. Now you might ask, how come these immigrant Israelis or Israelis in general are if they had to leave their home and migrate to Israel to make their own country after suffering from Nazism? Many have a country that condition its kids by using kids in media, portraying that their land is holy and only their land, and that they themselves are made of milk and honey. And by the way, when I mentioned their land, it did not just mean the Palestine or Israel. It means the whole Middle East, or even the whole wide world. And you can see why, as according to the Jewish history in the region spans over 3,500 years, and the archaeological findings across Judea and Samaria are used to substantiate this long-term presence and connection, asserting that Jews are not settler colonists, but rather indigenous to the area. Those TV shows and the schooling system in Israel are a part of the pro-Zionist propaganda, and that is how you condition a population for a certain belief, and if it is rooted so deeply in them since they were kids, no argument or facts can change their minds. The 2005 U.S. Department of State report on Israel wrote, "The government generally respected the human rights of its citizens. However, there were problems in some areas, including institutional, legal, and societal discrimination against the country's Arab citizens. Also, racism is not just towards a specific religion like Islam. In Zionism, the hate is towards black and brown people as well. Basically, anybody who is not a Zionist. Even their own countrymen who are Israelis but does not believe in the propaganda are not their own people. In a 2007 report by ACRI, over two-thirds of Israeli teens believe Arabs to be less intelligent, uncultured, and violent. Over a third of Israeli teens fear Arabs altogether. The report becomes even grimmer, citing the ACRI's poll taken in March of 2007, in which 50% of Israelis taking part said that they would not live in the same building as Arabs and will not befriend an Arab or let their children befriend any Arab kid, and would not even let Arabs into their homes ever. On January 28, 2025, ISF shot a 10-year-old boy in the abdomen. His name was Saddam Hussein Rajab, who died from his injuries on 7th of February 2025. A video recording shows that he was shot while standing empty-handed at the doorstep of a building in Tulkarem. ISF initially stated that the boy, quotes, was messing with the ground, unquote. And on 9th of February 2025, ISF an 8-month pregnant woman. Her name was Sonda Shalabi and she was only 23 years old, subsequently stating that she had been shot because she was, quote, looking suspiciously at the ground, unquote. And there are so many similar statements for innocent civilians in Palestine where the ICF mentioned, quote, looking suspiciously at ground or door or building, unquote. March 2010 poll by Tel Aviv University found that 49.5% of Israeli Jewish high school students believe that Israeli Arabs should not be entitled to the same rights as Jews in Israel, while it sounds very similar to 1939 or 1940. According to a 2001 report by Human Rights Watch, Israel's school system for Arab and Jewish children are separate and have unequal conditions to the disadvantage of the Arab children who make up 1/4 of all students. The report stated that government-run Arab schools are a word apart from government-run Jewish schools. In virtually every respect, Palestinian Arab children get an education far inferior to that of Jewish children. A 2009 study from the Hebrew University School of Education demonstrated that the Israeli Education Ministry's budget for special assistance to students from low socioeconomic backgrounds severely discriminated against Arabs. The health minister has set up a special unit which work alongside IDF and sperm banks in Israel. They collect sperms from the bodies of young Israeli soldiers. Yes, you heard it right. They collect sperm from the balls of soldiers on the ground. The fresher the body after the better for the quality of the sperm. The sperm must be collected within 24 hours after to increase its chances of viability when it is later unfrozen and used to fertilize an egg. This practice is driven by deep national dedication to pro-natalist, family-centered values and the cultural necessity to honor soldiers by continuing their legacy, particularly for unmarried soldiers, according to the Israeli government. Now, let me put a single word here, Aryan. Does it make sense to you now? If it still doesn't make sense, let me say this again. Real Aryan blood. Now, does it make sense to you? Obviously, it's not related to this essay, but I'm just trying to make a point here. It could sound like a conspiracy story to you, but this law can abuse those soldiers while partaking in a big trouble, which is giving birth to the true Israeli or Zionist children with pure Zionist blood. And these true Israelis in future can help bring their Messiah to the earth so that they can reclaim the word that it is theirs. At least that is what they think. When you have a Wikipedia page says, quotes, Israeli war crimes, unquotes, you know that you fucked up big time. I know this is an essay on racism by Israelis, but we cannot miss this part where Israelis have for decades and even today doing the monstrous savagery on the people of Palestine, Lebanon, and Iran. To make this brief and more impactful, here's the following. The use of human shields, sexual violence, rape, torture, pillage, forced transfer, breach of medical neutrality, enforced disappearance, targeting journalists, attacking civilians and protected objects, wanton destruction, incitement to genocide, and genocide. The Israeli government cannot claim to be keeping Palestinians safe when it kills them along escape routes, bombs so-called safe zones, and cut off food, water, and sanitation. Human Rights Watch interviewed 39 displaced Palestinians in Gaza, analyzed Israel's evacuation system, including 184 evacuation orders and satellite imagery confirming the widespread destruction, and verified photos and videos of attacks on designated safe zones and evacuation routes. Israel's recent attack on Iran all but wiped out coverage of the ongoing genocide in Gaza. It is thus important to look back on the racist and eliminationist rhetoric that has emanated from Jerusalem Day since long before the most recent Netanyahu government, with its cabinet of avowed extremists and racists.